So for this video today, I thought it would be easier to do a voiceover just because there's lots for me to explain. So let's get into my ultimate tips and tricks for wig making on Stardoll. Enjoy! So tip number 1 is to practice. Now I've probably all heard this before, but if you're familiar with my work, I do need to point out that I have grown a lot. So realistically, for me, it's taken about a year to get to the place I am now, and it has been a lot of hard work. So this is the first wig that I have ever made, and this was when I was first experimenting with shading, and I really wanted to make an ombre wig, so I did. And this is now my second wig, and then my third, but I kept trying and then I gradually started to improve. Also, a massive shout out to my amazing friend Denise on Stardoll. She's such a supportive person, and I had such a laugh when I found out that she's kept all of my original wigs. Thank you for supplying the photos. I have so much love for my little munchkin, and I'll leave her user so you can go and show her some love, and I'm sure it would really brighten up her day. So my next tip is reference photos. So if you have Stardoll Facebook, you'll see that most wigs are based off of a reference photo, and by this I mean someone who has found a photo of a picture of a hairstyle that they like and have recreated it using the design studio on Stardoll. So here are some of the wigs that I have made from reference photos. Now I usually tend to deviate from the reference photo, as you may be able to see some differences, but that's just how my brain flows really, and I use these photos for more of an inspiration rather than to copy the hairstyle. So whenever you're scrolling through my video feed and you see the word inspired, that will usually be inspired by a person or an image of their hair. So my best tip with reference photos is to find a style that you like. Start easy and simple and try to follow it as best you can. And if you feel like adding your own twist to it, then go ahead. So the next tip is comfort zone. Finding your comfort zone is a really important part of being new to creating wigs. So finding something that's easy for you to follow and work with. And for me that was black wigs. And if you followed me for a while now, you'll know that I used to make a lot of black wigs. And surprise, that was the thing that I was comfortable with creating. Now I like to make black wigs because they're easy to make. You can blend them really well and you can make them quite flawless. So now of course this does take time, but I do feel like black wigs are a great place to start. Some people do prefer blonde, and I do think that blonde wigs are great to work with, but black was just an easier shade for me to work with. The next tip is layering. So layering pieces gives you a more natural look to the hair, and you can do this by placing a piece down and then adding another part over the top and turn the translucency down to about halfway. Then move the piece to the left or the right, and then you'll see it become a little less harsh and more blurred. So the next tip is baby hairs. Baby hairs make your wig look a bit more natural. So we want to include these small thin hairs to give the look that it's real hair that we're making. So to do this, grab the individual strands and place them where baby hairs would fall. And then turn the translucency down slightly so it's not too harsh. Next we're looking at shade and light. So here I'm adding some shade to the wig, and it's important that you choose a shade that is in the spectrum of what colour you're working with. And it might seem obvious, but it's quite important. So as I'm working with black, I'm choosing a light grey. And if I was working with blonde, I would choose white for the highlights and a medium brown for the shading. By creating light and shade in your wig, it just makes it look more natural and real. Now we're moving on to shape. Again, this may seem obvious, but it's something that I personally struggled with when I was first designing. Now I couldn't get the shape of my wigs quite right, and I found that they turned out quite round and looked very rigid. So back to my tip about finding an inspiration picture. These can help you to see how hair falls on a person, so you can mimic the way that you create your wig based on the way their hair already looks. So shape is quite an important part of wig designing because it's the foundation that can ultimately make or break your design. Okay, so moving on to money. It's probably a common misconception that you do need a lot of Stardollars to afford wigs. However, I've seen some fantastic wigs made for less than 20 Stardollars, especially this member's wigs. My next tip, and probably my most important tip, is to watch tutorials. A shameless little plug here, but watch tutorials. I'm here to help, and I've got lots of videos with lots of different designs that you can explore. And you can also visit other members and YouTubers. So this is Seva, and I have so much love for this person. They always make top quality wigs, and if you've seen the wigs that were made on LanaDelChanel, they spoil me so much. I love you, Seva. Now I also love Nicole's wigs. She's got great tutorials that are easy to follow along, so check those out as well. And that, guys, is my ultimate guide to wig making. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you want to see more of my content. Leave a like if you found this helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.